Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Okay, so here we are. The APC presidential primaries will be on Monday, Tuesday next week. That's the day that's been given. But yesterday, as you know, the president actually met with APC stakeholders, governors, and the governors, APC governors and stakeholders, and made a few remarks. Never once used the word consensus, but that is the meaning that everybody has taken from it. Look at the papers this morning. It's in all the papers. One paper calls it the Buhari sucker punch. I'll pick my successor. Buhari meets governors, gives hint of preferred successor, an euphemism for consensus. Search for strong consensus candidate. Punch leads like that. And, the nation, Buhari seeks APC governor support to pick successor. So, picking the successor, it's of course, the primaries are coming up on Monday, Tuesday, as we said. And as you know, they can go either direct, indirect, or consensus. But there has been talk about some people not actually preferring a consensus. But in the light of what the president has said yesterday, it does begin to look, it might be heading in that direction, because the president has said that he's sort of given a checklist of what whoever emerges as the APC candidate, one way or the other, direct, indirect, or consensus, the conditions that that person must fulfill, must possess electoral value. Of course, no party would want to field anybody who doesn't have an electoral value. But I don't know if this was expected or not. I wonder what you think about the matter. Was this expected? Because here we are. And the president has jetted out. As you know, he's not home right now. He's he's in Spain on the invitation of the Spanish president over there. So he's not even here. He'll be coming back into the country. In the meantime, all the governors and all those who are stakeholders will be considering the issue. And so I think the way it's set up is that by the time Mr. President comes back into the country, between you and I, Mr. President will be hearing everything per day, per hour that's going on. But let's put it like that. By the time he comes back into the country, they would have had a position that will be presented to him, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So this is where we are now. Consensus or not consensus, what is it to be? We'll be speaking with an APC member, Senator Ajibola Basiru, who is the Senate spokesman. That's shortly, as soon as we can link up with him. But maybe you want to call in, and just before even that time, maybe you want to get in on this particular topic and what you make of it. What exactly do you make of the president calling everybody together? By everybody, I mean, key people, stakeholders, and letting them know that this is the way my mind is working. Theoretically, you could say that it could still be, direct or indirect, but he has been very careful in the way the words that the president used. As you can see there, that's one selection. It must be, the objective must be the victory of the party. And the choice of candidate must be someone who would give Nigerians a sense of victory and confidence even before the election. Now, all of those that are in the runnings in terms of, the people who have picked up the form and who have been screened. The APC national leader, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has been screened. So has the vice president and others. But the president sort of narrowed it down when the quote that you see here, that he is actually asking for reciprocity and support of the governors as to who will, that is in choosing my successor. I mean, you could read that one of two ways. It could be that, look, if we're going to be voting for it, just know that this is the way my mind is working. And, if you wanted to reciprocate, if you want to reciprocate, this is an opportunity to do so. Mr. George, calling in from Lagos. Good morning to you, sir. What do you make of the president's quotes there.
Uncle Yori, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Uncle Yori, I've been talking about this a number of times before. We've been reading the body language of Mr. President, that this is where he was going. If he is saying they should allow him to pick a successor. I don't know, Uncle Yori, does Nigeria belong to the president or governors, where governors and presidents will say, this must be the person to succeed me? Is it that it's undemocratic for you to say, I have to choose the person that will succeed me? Where is the place of the people that elect the leaders? It means we don't have whoever is chosen by the leader, by the president or by the governor, is automatically the one the people have chosen. Is it the governor or the president that has to speak for the people? I am very disappointed with the position of the president.
Okay.
This in 2015 or in 2014, this wasn't how he emerged. So, before he was able to make it, and he is not ready to speak out his name for some people now. He's only talking about consensus. How is that one going to bring? Has he not seen what has happened at the PDP?
I hear you. I hear you. Okay, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. That was the first shot there. As I said, you might want to call in so we could chat about this while we were waiting for Senator Ajibola Basiru to come online. And he is with us now. So a fine morning to you, Senator Ajibola Basiru, Senate spokesman. Well, I thought you were with us. Oh, yes, you are. Now, good morning to you, Senator Basiru. Can you hear us? I think you're looking at a monitor, but I wonder if you can hear us. Okay, we'll sort that out. It's clear to me that Senator Basiru is ready, but there still are one or two little gremlins in the works, and we'll get rid of them very, very shortly. There was our first person, our first contributor this morning, and that's the way the program went yesterday, as a matter of fact. The panel, so to speak, extended beyond the studio right into your sitting rooms out there, or wherever else your television set is, and we heard from quite a few people. Well, Mr. George has called in and he's expressed his disappointment. We'll be waiting to hear what an APC member, such as Senator Ajibola Basiru, who is standing by now, thinks about the matter. But interestingly, the word consensus never came into it. It's in interpretations immediately after. The people might say this is semantics. Well, what do you mean? Well, but he did, in relation to something that Mr. George was saying, I think the president observed that, look, in the party here, they've sort of established a convention where sitting governors, are allowed to promote who they would like to be. Sitting governors are given an automatic ticket, and if you're a second-term governor, you're allowed to promote whoever you think can continue the good work that APC is doing. APC being a collective now, because there's an ideology and all of that. So that's what the president has been stressing, that this is where we need to be, ladies and gentlemen of the party. And he's expecting, it was an interesting word, he's expecting reciprocation. So reciprocity, meaning that, this goes back to what Mr. George was talking about. Why is it like that? Why don't we go flat out democracy? Well, we've heard them say time without number, the politicians that is, that, you see, the dynamics are different, crimes are different, situations are different. Even the president reverts to sort of the evolving situation, environment that we have ourselves, that we have before ourselves. Let me hear it from a viewer in Yenagoa. Who's on the line?
Chief Easy Yakia. Good morning, Uncle.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for coming on. Go ahead, please. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a very sad and fundamental show of disgrace by our politicians in this country. At this point, where democracy is the government of the people, by the people, while we are expected to give the citizens to decide who their flag bearers should be, particularly the party members. You have seen that the hawks in the various political parties, particularly that of the APC, have hijacked the system. You see where the presidency and the governors want to determine who the party flag bearer will be, particularly in a society where we have seen what the PDP have done, where they have shown maturity, where they have displayed excellence, and did an open primaries and picked up a candidate in the middle of the night that day. And you see APC deciding that they want to do consensus. What definition of consensus do you adhere political system? Is consensus a democratic order? It's a very sad development. I begin to look at it.
But it is a legitimate option according to the party, isn't it?
It is legitimate, no doubt about it. But you're talking about a country that is the poverty gestation of the world. You're talking about a country where over 17 million persons are out of school.
I hear you.
I hear you. You're talking about a country that students are out of school, actually is on strike. You're talking about a country where the country is begging, the country is bleeding. We should begin to look at our leadership direction. The major problem of this country is leadership.
Well, thank you very much for calling in there from Iyenagua. Senator Ajibola Basiru, I did say we'd get rid of the gremlins, and I think we've done so. So a fine morning to you, Senator Ajibola Basiru, Senate spokesman.
Good morning, Yori. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I hope you're fine too. Now,
yes, it has been a very hectic week.
Yes, it has. In fact, let's just jump in with both feet from my end here. So what exactly do you make? I don't know if you were able to hear the first two callers that we had on this particular topic of the president meeting yesterday with APC over the presidential primaries. And in fact, one paper puts it, let me see, where's that paper? One paper has the headline, Buhari's sucker punch to APC governors. I'll pick my successor. Give me your impression, Senator. What did you make of the meeting yesterday?
First and foremost, as a politician, I will say, and I say this, I must keep the caveat. I'm not speaking as Senate spokesperson. I'm speaking as Senator Ajibola Basiru, a Nigerian citizen, a politician, and a chieftain of the APC. So anybody that quotes me should not say Senate spokesperson said this. I'm not saying what Senate will take. So I think this is very important to have this caveat. I would say, personally, as a member of the APC, I'm highly disappointed that political meetings can be subject matter of a prepared speeches. I have been in politics for some time now, and I know when such meetings are supposed to be held. The venue are not even supposed to be venue for such. You cannot be holding political party meeting at council chambers, which is, I think, exclusively preserved for the conduct of the government business. Secondly, too, I think political discussions are meant to be discussions and not a venue for speech making. Be that as it may, I read, I think about 11 or 12 paragraph speech of the Mr. President, paragraph 9 and 10, which everybody is trying to feast on, itself contradicts, themselves. But whereas in paragraph 9, the president is saying that the party should pick somebody whom the Nigerian people will have confidence and about the party being able to win an election. And in paragraph 10, talking about a kind of a nebulous reference to a tradition or whatever it is called it, that they should be subsisting in being able to pick my successor. It's rather unfortunate, assuming that I've been a discussion. You cannot put pen to paper to some of those things, and that is why I say it is wrong procedure to even use speech making as a means of political meeting and political discussion. From the two commentators that have spoken here, it has painted our party as a party of imposition. Yes, there could be consensus, and consensus is a mode recognized under Section 84 of the Electoral Act. But in this regard, consensus is said to be where all aspirants decide to withdraw and agree to a particular successor. It's not just enough to withdraw in that regard. Then when you breathe down on governors, breathe down on delegates to do the bidding of a particular person, yes, you may have your way, but I must express my fear that the President Muhammadu Buhari, if this oncoming convention for presidential election is not properly handled, may well be the only and the last president of the APC. I regret to say this, but I'm a realist and I don't hide my feelings in such a regard, irrespective of whose ox, maybe God. The reality confronting us is that our party is challenged by a problem of public perception. Our party is also challenged, by the fact that the lead opposition party has demonstrated, capacity to conduct a clear, democratic, primary, irrespective of whether anybody, will allege issue of food buying or any other allegation. But in the glare of the public and on camera, they conducted a primary, 6 hours, 35 minutes. They were able to come, with a clear leader, and you see a clear political trading by aspirants coming, to stand down for the other. If, on the other hand, we do presidential, mostly of a credible presidential aspirant to leave from the race, the question of the morale of their followers and the commitment for them to be able to deliver on the victory, for the party would have been negatively, affected. So if we decide to decountenance and discount democratic participation of, the people in the democratic process, whatever consequences come, yes, it may be unpalatable, or at best, the party, may be lucky, but the consequences will live with us for a very long time.
As you've just indicated, and as you also referred, the people who spoke before you came on, that is our viewers just watching this whole thing, they also expressed their disappointment, and the APC has long been plagued with this challenge of internal democracy. That is to it. Not everybody believes that APC is at the height of that particular totem pole, that is internal democracy. You also mentioned speech writing, and reading it myself, listening, it was clearly a very carefully worded script. Not once was consensus mentioned, but points were made that, look, we've allowed it with governors, and I think that's where reciprocity as a concept is coming in, because effectively, change it to ordinary English, it looked like the president was saying, you're going to have to allow me to also choose my consensus. We've been allowing you to do your own thing. So, Bomembo, now it is for me. And this goes back to much earlier in the play, shall we say, when the president had said he knows indeed who he prefers, but he's not going to talk about that person lest harm befall him. So we have a situation here. People are wondering, might APC come up with a northern candidate? Everybody thinks that APC should indeed be looking at the south. With what the PDP has now come up with, is there any room whatsoever for a candidate to come from anywhere but the south? First and foremost, I will say that I will not be insisting that the candidates of our party must come from any part of Nigeria. But I think it will be fair, having allowed people to go into a contest, to allow there to be the delegates to decide whoever will fly the flag of our party. It may well be that the wisdom of the delegates will be to go to the north or to go, to the south, irrespective of where, the candidate comes from. It must be a candidate that can deliver on the pan-Nigerian, mandate, because ultimately, whoever is going to be president of Nigeria is not going to be president of the south or president of the north. Is going to be the president of the Nigeria. So all Nigerians will have a say on who emerge. And of course, you cannot say because the PDP decided to have their candidate from the north. And it's not a decision that was made by fiat. It was a decision that emerged from a democratic contest. Perhaps if Governor Tambua had not stepped down for his own preferred aspirant, Atiku Abubakar, possibly the count may be in favor of Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. So the emergence of Atiku is, as it were,
a product of the democratic processes that transpire in the full glare of the public in that regard. You can see the enthusiasm, you can see the passion that greeted the withdrawal of Governor Tambua from the race and stepping down specifically for Atiku Abubakar. So it may well be that in a democratic contest, if that is allowed, and in our party, candidates may emerge from the south, and I know there are aspirants that are capable of getting a pan-Nigerian mandate in the contest. So it should not be about north versus the south, but whether we follow a process that would go down well with everybody, that will ensure the cohesiveness of our party, and that will ensure that a bad blood that will be generated from an overly coercive approach to a democratic process will not jeopardize the chances of our party in the presidential election.
Okay, there is a technicality, isn't there, Senator, that if it's going to go the consensus way, then every other person must, in writing, withdraw from the race, showing their agreement. But if everybody, that is 100% of the other candidates, apart from whoever is the preferred one, do not so do, is there going to be a problem?
Of course, there can be, within the context of the Electoral Act Section 84, unless all the aspirants withdraw and they specifically mention that they are withdrawing for the particular consensus candidate, legally will not be done. But what I see is that if some people somewhere had made up their mind that they want to tilt the pendulum specifically in favor of their favorite, they may well use coercive method to coerce possibly governors, possibly senators, possibly delegates to vote in a particular way that will generate bad blood among those that were elbowed out using that overly coercive authority of the presidency. So it will not be consensus. Then it would, in that regard, be that a certain predetermined end had already been given to that primary. Then the question will now be, how do you manage post-convention acrimony, and what will be the effect in being able to galvanize all sector of the party to work assiduously and conscientiously for the emergence of whoever emerged from that process.
Indeed. Okay, one moment, Senator, while I take on Mr. Ade, who has called in from the UK. Good morning to you, Mr. Ade, and thank you for holding on while the senator finished what he was saying.
You kept me on for half an hour. You know the dollar price now. The dollar is changing now.
Mr. Ade,
good morning,
apologies.
Our distinguished senator. I so much appreciate our senator this morning. He's a courageous man like my governor in Ondo State, Aketi. I love the man. The man should be the governor, next governor after Oyetola Star. I love people to speak.
Okay, you're talking about Aketi, having said that if indeed the consensus is what is going to solve the problem, so be it, but that he would prefer, Governor Akeredolu, he would prefer that the consensus candidate, if we must go down that route, should come from the southwest. That's what you're referring to.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So my governor is a very courageous governor. He speaks without fear, like Senator Ajibola now. I've told you before, Dr. Yori, that all this cabal, they don't want Asiwaju. Because of Asiwaju, they are doing all these things. They don't want him.
Well, that's your personal opinion.
Can I just express myself, please?
Yeah, I'm just emphasizing that. That's you speaking. Carry on, please.
Yeah, it's me speaking. Yeah, it's me speaking, please. So this is a democracy. We are not. Nobody can gag us. They don't want Asiwaju. That's why all these problems are going on in Nigeria. Everybody know. You can see. Let me tell you plainly. Senator Ajibola have said it. This president will be the last president of APC. In 2023, it will be between Atiku and Obi. We will choose between one of those people. Go and mark it all, because the president wants to choose somebody he likes. I read the paper this morning. They said they want somebody from Northwest to be the president.
Okay.
Can you imagine that? Which means we don't know what we are doing in the South.
All right.
Nobody will take, all of us in the South, we will vote for Atiku or Obi, any of those two, not APC. APC is bye-bye for APC.
Okay.
Demonimowa.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ade. But when you are paraphrasing Senator Ajibola, it was only seconds ago. It was a conditional statement. But over to you, Senator. Here, the statement that you made
is that we need to be very careful, and I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. I'm a committed, party member in the APC. But when you begin to subject, national democratic process to the whims of what my predecessor in a contentious thesis called the establishment, then you begin to wonder whether we are growing a democracy or we are retarding a democracy. I will not be as assertive as the previous speaker, but I will know that there will be a grand swell of resentment against our party if a decision is taken to be seen to show bias, to show predisposition to undermine our credible leadership from the Southwest. But be that as it may, just in that speech was written with respect. I don't know who is the speechwriter of the president. I will say that it's more of a mumbo jumbo, confusing, susceptible to several interpretation, and as to a decade and a half. I don't think where political discussions are predicated on prepared speeches. Discussions are supposed to be held in a very conducive and a robust manner, not as if you are dishing out military decree.
A viewer, another person expressing his own personal views, has also, Mr. Ade in the UK, who called in, has speculated that all of this is because of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They don't want him. I'm paraphrasing, if not quoting directly, Mr. Ade in the UK. Mr. Ade in the UK is not the only person. Mr. George, who was the first caller this morning, he's also, said something very, very similar. I don't know. What commentary would you have on this whole speculation, I should say, of the APC ganging up against one particular candidate? After I've made that my question, I'm now told that the senator is not there. So I didn't know he went anywhere, but we're talking about technology. I also have on the line Mr. Yakub. Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, sorry, good morning once again. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I totally agree with Mr. George. It's a plan. But I don't have doubt in my mind. Because when they are planned, God is also planned. Why am I saying that? There is a clause there. Even if they gang up, and then if they are ganging up against one particular person, they want to anoint one person as a consensus candidate. There is a law there says that if one person disagrees with that kind of motion, they should go to the primary. And then if somebody lost in a free and fair election in primary, I know Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the party person. And then when we are talking about consensus candidates here in Southwest, I don't have doubt in my mind. Don't mention that person that can win the election for APC, except Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. None. If they dare do after that very particular candidate, go and bring any other person, I can tell you it is a walkover for the other party, quote and unquote, which I don't like to mention their name because I don't like them. I don't want to vote for them. But this kind of a situation, Chief Jody, if they dare make that mistake, not picking Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I particularly is going to vote against the party because it's a party that some of us campaign for. Since almost 8 years ago now. And then let me even ask a question. The question is that why are they against this very particular candidate? What is an offense? Is it the offense that because he galvanized the party to win the center? Or is it an offense spending all his time making sure the party win the election? What is his offense?
Okay.
The person that make Lagos where it is today. But basically, in a nutshell, what I'm saying in essence is that if they pick any other person except Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they are going to lose woefully. Hopefully, thank you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yakub, for calling on. And welcome, Senator Jibola Basiru, Senate spokesman again. I was saying when we came back from the break, Senator Basiru, can you hear me? Senator Basiru, can you hear me yet? Okay. It's going to be that kind of a day. Apparently, Senator Basiru can't hear us yet, but he will in short order. And as you know, okay, Senator Basiru, I wonder if it's better now. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Yori.
Okay, exactly. Fine. Thank you. What I said when we came back is that you had, been careful to say to us at the top of the program that you will be speaking as a Nigerian citizen, not as the spokesperson of the Senate, as a Nigerian citizen who is a member of APC and had some, views to air. And so your comments would be put in that particular context, that these are not necessarily the views of the Senate of the Federal Republic. But for instance, Mr. Ade in the UK, he also expressed his own personal opinion. And he was saying, as had George before him and has Yakub after him, now saying that it seems to them that there's an effort to squash the candidature of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the APC. And if that is, you've already explained that if only one person does not concede to this whole consensus idea, then we'll have to go to primaries. And then you also explain that if they think there's any way out of that you coerce governors or whoever the people that are going to do the voting, then it could work against the APC. I just want us to return to that point. Somebody else has also threatened that if indeed what seems to be in the offing goes on, he will, even though he's an ardent party follower, he's not going to vote for APC. He will vote away from APC. How widespread do you think this danger is, Senator Basiru? Oh dear, I think the audio went out again. The audio went out again.
Yes, I think, you see, I don't know,
Yeah, clearly the signals, are just being boisterous, shall we say, this morning. We'll sort it out. We'll get there. In the meantime, you could keep the calls. Mazi Okoroafo has called in. Good morning to you, Mazi, in Arochukwu.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, our guests. Both on Sky and YouTube. Sayori, you see, this morning, when I was watching the screen, I just listened to both foreign and local news. I've discovered that with the research work people have been doing, that governors in states dictate how the country will run. Because to me, the president sitting down discussing with the governors before he leaves for Spain, it doesn't make meaning to me, because the governors themselves, they have now turned to be another empire. Empire that is say they sit down, the monarchy, they decide who and who to be there, which is not healthy. Because if a candidate is not in good terms with the governors, that means they will work against that, which is not healthy. That is why governors are now working everywhere to come back to National Assembly as senators. That place is now their own home, permanent home. When you finish 8 years in the state, you now come to National Assembly and settle down your home. I see somebody, when you come to the village, they tell you, say, your home. Now, the question is this. We have to look out. Tinubu, I don't think there's anybody around this region. He has served as a governor, a senator as governor, just came back and sat down. He has studied Nigeria very well and is out for this game. Look, Nigeria should not make a mistake of dancing to the tune of governors coming to decide who will be the next president, whether APC or any other political parties. It will not go, because governors, as far as I'm concerned, many of them, 80% of them, they are failures in their states. For them to come back again and do another kangaroo and bring out somebody to stand and say, we will not accept that one.
Okay.
Delegates, I prefer the political parties to direct election. Let the populace members decide who will be their president. to represent him. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mazio Korafo. Senator Basiru, let me just check with you again. Can you hear us now?
I'm back.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
Great. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I think what you said, I will not go to the extreme as some of the commentators have said, but I think it will be sad if the hypothesis that there is a gang up against Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a reality. I've been somebody who has worked closely with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, both when I was in Lagos and particularly in 2015. I remember that the election management structure of the APC that was able to set up situation rooms and election management training, which was facilitated, by us, was
Okay, we see that he's gone again. Okay, but Senator Ajibola Basiru is addressing the question of whether or not he can legitimately, see a gang up against Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu within his own party, the APC. As some have said, Senator Basiru was saying that he wasn't going to jump onto that bandwagon immediately. But now that you're back, would you like to continue on that theme? Because
yes, I will say. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I will say that the thoughts itself is mind-boggling, to some of us, because the challenge that you have is that if the majority of the party members who are behind Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu perceive such gang up against Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I will not see how the party leadership at the national level will be able to convince such followership to back any candidate that could emerge in that acrimonious situation. It will be a very terrible situation because the APC would have left its flank open in the other region where it gets major support in the southern part of the country. We know that the southeast has never gone the way of our party. South, very minimal support. So if the entire southwest now perceive that the leaders of our party are marginalized and treated with ignominy, I don't know how easy would it be for us to be able to convince them. But I still want to state that it will not be any conscientious person in the leadership of the party nationally will want to gang up against Asiwaju. Today, when we talk about APC, no matter what the revisionists in our party want to say, I doubt whether APC would have been able to assess the center if not for the support of our leaders like Baba Bisa Akonde and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu throwing all they have into the contest in that regard. So if now that we are now in the leadership at the national level and the same national leadership will want to use the national machinery to rally against Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and leadership of our party in the southwest, I think it will be very, very challenging for some of us to be able to canvass for any such product of that gang up. But I still want to be optimistic and believe that the leadership of the party will allow there to be proper contest at the primary. Then where a clear winner emerge, then we'll be able to rally around and work. But if the theory of conspiracy prevail and it put into use, then it may be a very sad development in our party. Because
Asiwaju himself has said in the recent past, I believe, since all of this started, all of the rumors started, that look, in an open contest, in a plain contest, he will go with whoever wins and will support whoever wins. But in the meantime, Lawale in the Republic of Ireland has called in. Good morning, Mr. Lawale. Lawale in Ireland. Perhaps we lost Lawale calling in from the Republic of Ireland. Because Senator Basiru, coming back to continuing with you now, people have said, and as I said initially, the first person who mooted this idea was Mr. Ade in the UK, that they don't want Ashwaju, implying there's a gang up against Ashwaju. Why that will be is left to everybody's conjecture. But it could actually lead to, if indeed this theory were to come to completion, it could be dangerful, to use a Nigerian kind of expression. It could be dangerful at the polls, at the election, because a number of people are saying, if you do that, then it's clear that the person that I support, that is the person speaking, you're trying to squash his candidature. And if you were to do that, just like you've just said, Senator, they themselves might begin to find it difficult. How would you convert support for a party that is squashing the candidate that they hope will emerge in a free and fair contest? So I hope, as you've said, that all the leaders are taking cognizance of all of these things and will do the right thing. Because the president has said in that meeting that you criticized, as what kind of a meeting was that, has said that your party must put forward somebody who can win elections.
I think before going, because I have to rush out for another program. I'm sorry, Yori, but I will say that the case of Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in our party, I will use it Yoruba adage to say it. The Yoruba has a saying that ẹni tó bá ní owó tẹ́rù eléyìí tó fẹ́ fi tanná ló mú lọ́wọ́. If you say cotton is not a big luggage, a big load, that means that it's only the quantum you want to use to ignite lights that you took, you are taking. So if anybody in its recess of mind thinks that the importance and the gargantuan contribution of Ashwaju, both to the previous success and to possible future success of a party, is something that can be discounted in a democratic process, and then that person is doing so at the risk of undermining the success of the party at the election. I think that will be a convenient place for me to leave. I apologize profusely. I had to join this conversation because I have some other previous engagement. So I wish our party success, and I pray that reason and a good conscience will prevail in whatever decisions is taken ultimately by the leadership of the party.
Thank you very much, Senator Basiru, for making the time for us. We understand that you have other, important engagements. Thank you very much for continuing. In the meantime, Bernard has called in. Good morning, Bernard.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead.
This week and last week and next will be an interesting time in Nigeria.
Yes, we can hear you. Please continue.
Okay, as my contribution goes this way, I think consensus to me is not democratic. Consensus is not democratic because there's no way or how you can make everybody to come together and agree at the same time. Political party is a place where people or groups will come together with diverse interests. So, how can you come when their interests are not protected? They will be aggrieved. So I think what APC should do now, not maybe bringing some group of people or few individuals, they should make sure that everybody comes together and say, this is what I want or this is how I want it. If they cannot achieve it through consensus, they should go to pool. Then everybody, if you lose, you go home and be happy. Say yes. There are people who say yes, you've tried. But then a situation whereby at the end of the day, you spend 100 million, and at the end of the day, few people or some people will come out and say, this is who we want. Okay, those people that spend 100 million, after consensus, will they refund their money? Even if they refund their money, they will test their mind. So I say the party should allow everybody to come. You let a level ground preview. Then if anybody lose, the person will lose guarantee, and the person will win guarantee, so that there will be peace. There will be tranquility in the party. That's my contribution.
Indeed, and thank you for making it. Because it does seem to be the majority, sort of impression, at least, where I'm at here, and indeed, Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as I said, had said in the past that in a free and fair contest, he would go with whoever won. Of course, he will go with himself if he happens to be the person, but he's implying that it could be anyone, and whoever it is, he would be up to, work for the party and support that person. But it must have been seen to be fair. So the speculation now, let's just emphasize on that word. The speculation now out there in the polity is that there's a work going on to squash the candidature. I don't know where they get that idea from, but you strong arm. You just heard no less a person that the Senator Ajibola Basiru, Senate spokesman, but he was saying that he wasn't speaking as Senate spokesman, as a spokesman of the Senate of the Federal Republic. That's not how he was speaking. He was speaking as an APC man and as a concerned Nigerian, and he didn't concede that there was any such plan, but he said if that theory were to be so, then it does seem to him that it wouldn't bode well for the party. We'll see how all of that goes, as we continue on with this, because all of this might be much ado about nothing at the end of the day. It might be that, where did you get all these ideas from? Nobody was thinking along those lines. I don't know. We have to wait and see. But Yakia, if I got that right, in Delta State, has called in. Good morning, Yakia.
From Bayelsa.
Oh, from Bayelsa. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. You?
Today's topic is very interesting.
Okay.
Because it's so sad that up till now, in our nascent democracy, our politicians have not been able to look at the issues clearly. They are not thinking about the next generation. They are thinking about the next generation. If you look at the consensus effort that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu played to the emergence of APC today, and today, if PDP can consider Atiku Abubakar getting their zoning, getting all principle to zone the presidency to the north, and Atiku has emerged in spite of the forthright role and critical role that the governor of Rivers State, here's the one wicket played in that election. Considering the vital role that the governor of Bayelsa played, His Excellency Governor Doeziri played to ensure that there's stability in that primary. So the APC have kept this in principle. APC have kept this in forthrightness. APC have kept this in democratic political norms. So we're talking about consensus. Consensus is a compromise of the initial ideology or the philosophy of APC. It's so sad that today we cannot look at the perimeter of the sufferings of Nigerians. Just last week in Port Harcourt, over 31 persons died because of hunger, because they went to collect palliative. Just a few weeks ago, the persons that are kidnapped in Kaduna, attack, are still there. People, the primate of the Methodist Church was kidnapped. 100 million was paid. The politicians in APC are not looking in that direction. They are looking at how to compromise Nigerians and give us leaders that cannot direct this country on the right path of patriotic democratic principle. It's so sad. We should begin to look at our democratic norms and adopt strategic principles that will consider the factors of health, that will consider education, that will consider infrastructure. Look at our economy today. The economy is bleeding. We are talking about petrol for 100 and something naira, when before now it was 75. They are talking about a bag of rice that was 8,000, today it's 32,000. They are talking about the dollar that was 100 and something naira, it's 796 naira. Where are we going to in this country?
Okay, I've got to leave it there. I want to thank you very much for calling in, and we've got to leave it there. So there you are. We have to wait and see. Is there an effort out to squash the candidature of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? No evidence, but people are just commenting that, what's this all about? Why are you coming up with a consensus at this late hour? We're going to leave it there. We'll pick it up from wherever the conversation is when we return, but that's our program for today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.